Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I have a video that I think is going to be a lot of fun and it's going to be kind of eye-opening, I think, as well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how many years worth of makeup I have in every single category within my current collection. Now these numbers are based on my average number of empties in each category. And if you are not familiar, I did recently do a 4-year makeup empties analysis where I talked about all of my makeup empties from 2019 through to 2022. So what I will be sharing with you is the average number of products that I have used up in every category, and then I'm comparing that to the number of products currently in my makeup inventory in that category as well. And therefore, I'm able to figure out an estimated number of years that I have worth of product in that category. I hope that makes sense. I think you'll figure it out as we go along. All I've done is taken my inventory count and then divided it by the average number of items. And there we go. That's how I have this estimated value. Now, these are, of course, just truly estimations for fun. These are not considering how much progress I have on my current collection. These are not considering how much product is in each individual item. They're not considering whether something will go bad or if I'm gonna bring more makeup into my collection. This is just purely for fun, and it really is something that I think is quite eye-opening for me. While I'm currently on my no-buy, this is a really good practice to feel very content and adequate with what I already have in my collection. And this is actually something that I do think is going to help to prevent me from the desire to bring in more, because I have more than enough. I have far more than enough. And you will see when we get into that cheek product category, it's like many years worth of products. So let's get on into it, okay? Let's get right on into it. Let's kick it off with the primer category. My average in this category is 3.25 empties. I currently have 5 products within this category, so that means that I have about 1.54 years worth of product in that category. That number to me doesn't seem like quite enough time to go through all 5 primers that I do have, just given the way that I do consume them now and the amount of progress that I do have on my primer category. But it's definitely interesting to think I could have about 1.5 years worth of primers, but I realistically think it's closer to 2 or 2.5 years. And then when it comes to foundations, this is inclusive of my tinted moisturizers as well. All of my base products are just kind of lumped into one here. My average number of empties is 2.5 empties annually, and I have 5 products within this category, so that means that I have about 2 years worth of products in this category. And knowing the status of my tinted moisturizers and foundations right now that I have on hand, I actually think that that sounds about right. I think I have about 2 years worth of base products at my disposal right now, and that's why over the last few years I've been on a base product no-buy, because I have many years worth of these items, and liquid products do go bad quicker, so I want to actually work through these. I want to use them up. So it's great to not be bringing in more and being able to possibly use these up in the next 2 years. Now moving on to the concealer category, this is also inclusive of color correctors. I don't have any color correctors currently in my collection, but this number is based on color correctors and concealers from years past. My average in this category is 2.75 items used up annually, and I currently have 4 products in this category right now. So that would mean that I should have 1.45 years worth of product. However, that is not realistic to me whatsoever. I actually think I'm going to only use up 1 product from this category this year, and I probably have another 1 to 2 years worth of concealer at my disposal in my current collection right now. So I think I have more like 2.5 or 3 years worth of concealer, knowing how full things are, knowing how I use my concealers at the moment. Moving along into powders, which is both loose and pressed powders. My average in this category is 3.25 empties annually. I currently have 3 products in this category. So that would mean that it is under a year worth of product that I have in my current collection, but that is not at all accurately represented. No. So statistically speaking, I have 0.92 years worth of powder, but that is not the case. This is gonna last me a lot longer than this year. It's gonna take quite a while to work through the powders that I do have, knowing where I'm at with all of them. So that is kind of funny. That's just based on the way that I used to consume powder, the way that I used to wear makeup. I used to wear a lot more makeup. I used to want to lock things down a lot more. And in years past, I had a lot more progress on my powder collection for those reasons. And nowadays, my powder collection is very minimally used. For setting sprays, my annual average is 2.75 empties. I currently only have one setting spray actually in my collection, which would mean that it would take less than a year to work through the setting spray that I have. And while that could be done, I don't foresee that actually technically being the case because I want to just use it whenever I feel compelled to use it. So the number of years, technically speaking, is 0.36 years worth of setting spray. But I think this setting spray is going to take me to the end of the year, if not beyond that, just with the way that I kind of use it these days. I use it very infrequently and very minimally as well. I used to like saturate my face. I would spray it before I put on makeup and after. Nowadays, I just oftentimes forget to use setting spray, and that's okay. It's nice to have one in my collection, but I'm in no rush to use up the one that I have. So we're moving along into my cheek products, and I will just warn you, these are where the numbers get quite steep. They definitely get quite steep. It's pretty wild around here, okay? But just for a reference point, these are inclusive of liquid, cream, and powder formulations for all of my cheek products. So when it comes to bronzer, blush, and highlight, we're talking all types of formulations. So for bronzers, my average number of empties is 1.5 products in this category. I currently have 6 bronzers in my collection, so that would mean that I have about 4 years worth of bronzer. It would take me 4 years to work my way through all 6 bronzers in my collection. I don't know if that is actually an accurate number. I feel like I have more like 5 or 6 years worth of bronzer, just knowing where everything stands. I do have pan in a lot of my bronzers. I do have progress on them, but the way that I use bronzers these days and just knowing my track record with how long it takes me really to use up bronzers, I think I have more than the 4-year kind of estimated number of years. But that is really insightful because to have at my disposal over 4 years worth of bronzers makes me realize I don't need one more bronzer in my collection. Not at all. And this next category is even more. It makes me really not want to bring more blushes into my collection. So let's move on into that blush category then. And my average number of products used up in this category is 1.25 items. That even seems kind of high. It is hard to use up blush, like really difficult. They take a lot of work and dedication to use up. I currently have, throughout different palettes and different formulas, like I said, 19 blushes in my collection, which means that I have 15.2 years worth of product. And actually, I think that number is significantly higher than 15 years. I think I have closer to like 20 plus years worth of blush if I could actually use them all up, if they didn't go bad, if they just stayed as they were right now. I have probably more like 20 years worth of blush, but I can foresee myself for sure continuing to make progress on the blush collection that I do have. But I actually think there will be years upcoming where I don't use any blushes whatsoever. So yeah, to have more than 15 years worth of blush currently in my collection is definitely a reality check for me. Moving into the highlighter category, it is kind of surprising that my annual average is 2.5 products in this category. That seems quite high, but I do think that's in part because I go through liquid and cream highlighters far more often than powder products. And so I think that's why I was able to like beef up that number in the averages, is because of using up the liquid formulas in my collection, which is good. I'm happy that I'm working through them and not letting them go bad. My number of highlighters throughout different palettes and in individual pans and in individual packages of liquid and creams is 21. 21 highlighters right now, okay? That means I have, technically speaking or statistically speaking, 8.4 years worth of highlighter. I probably have significantly more than that because I know So many of my powder highlighters look virtually untouched, so there's definitely way more than 8 years worth of highlighter in my collection right now. For brows, this is all brow products overarching. Everything is just lumped into one. Gels, pomades, brow soaps, brow pencils, whatever. They're all in this category together. I generally finish off an average of 3 products in this category every year, but I currently only have 3 in my collection. And so that means that technically speaking, I have about a year's worth of brow products, but I know for a fact I have way more than a year worth of brow products just knowing one product alone, my soap brow. For eyeshadow primers, my average is just half of a primer used up every single year. I currently have 2 in my collection, so that means I would technically speaking have 4 years worth of eyeshadow primers in my collection. However, I know for a fact that is actually not the case in this scenario because over the last few years, I've been making really great progress on the 2 primers that I do have. And so I actually think that these are about a year and a half worth of primers, if not less than that. So the next category, my friends, is eyeshadows. And it's just not realistic to think that I will be able to use up all of my eyeshadows in my collection ever in my lifetime at all in any capacity. But let's just talk about it. Let's just really freaking talk about this, okay? My average number of eyeshadows that I use up is 2.25 eyeshadows. This is cream eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows, individual eyeshadow pans from palettes. My average number is 2.25 eyeshadows used up. I've counted out every single one of my eyeshadows, whether they're in pans or liquid formulations. I currently have 306 eyeshadows right now. So that would mean that I have 136 years worth of eyeshadow. If I could use up 2 every single year with the collection that I have right now, I have 136 years worth of eyeshadow. And seeing that number, I don't feel overwhelmed by my eyeshadow collection. I actually really love the variety and the vastness that I have in my eyeshadow collection. But seeing that number makes me not want to purchase any more. It makes me just want to continue to enjoy the collection of eyeshadows that I do have and to try my hardest to use up more than 2 eyeshadows this year from my collection. It really does make me appreciate what I have more. It really, really does. And not want to want more. It makes me want to enjoy what I already have, if that makes sense. For eyeliners, I've just lumped together pencil eyeliners, gel eyeliners, liquid liners all together into this category. My average number of empties is 2.5 products in this category. I currently have 10 in my makeup inventory, and so that would mean that I have about 4 years worth of eyeliners. That actually does feel pretty accurate to me. I would hope that I can work through my eyeliners that I currently have in fewer than 4 years, but knowing the current status of like how much progress I have on those products, I actually think that 4 sounds about right if they were not to dry up or go bad before the 4 years. That actually sounds about right to me. For mascaras, my average number of empties is pretty steep, 8.25 products used up annually. However, currently I only have 4 mascaras and one of those is a lash primer. So I have less than half a year worth of mascara if we're talking about it in comparison to years past. I actually think that this will last me for the majority of the year, knowing that I have 2 that are entirely unopened and 1 that I just opened now. I think this will last me the majority of the year, but statistically speaking, I have 0.48 years worth of mascara in my collection. I'm really hoping to push that to like 0.75 or a little bit beyond that. But that is definitely quite interesting to consider. For lip glosses, this also includes tinted lip balms, by the way. My average number of empties is 4 products in this category. I currently have 12 products in this category, and so that would mean that I have about 3 years worth of lip gloss. That does seem realistic to me, actually. I think I do have a lot of lip glosses that I got near the tail end of last year that don't have a lot of progress on them, so As it stands right now, it does feel like I have more than 3 years worth of product, but I do rotate through my lip gloss collection and I do make progress on them even when I'm not focusing on them in project pans. For lip liners, my average in this category is very low at just 1 product used up annually. At least there's 1 on the board. That does make me feel good that there's just 1 on the board for that. But I currently have 4 lip liners in my collection, which would mean I have 4 years worth of lip liner. And I actually think I have more than 4 years worth of lip liner because it takes me forever to use up lip liner, like forever. There's no way that I could just start the year off and work my way through 1 lip liner for the next 4 years because the colors that I have and because I just don't use lip liner in that capacity. My goal with my focused lip liner in my project pan right now is to use up only half of it this year. And I think that's gonna take the majority of the year. So I think I actually have more like 5, 6, 7 years worth of lip liners. Final category we're gonna chat about today is lipsticks. So this is bullet lipsticks and liquid lipsticks. I currently only have bullet lipsticks in my collection, but these numbers, the average number comes from all different types of formulations over the years, just as a reference point. So my average number of lipsticks that I use up annually is just 2 lipsticks. Although I currently have 18 in my collection, which would mean I have about 9 years worth of lipstick in my drawers right now. 9 years worth of lipstick sitting in my drawers right now. That is definitely eye-opening as well. When you really think about it though, the lipstick collection that I do have is not going to last me 9 years, that is for sure. Many of these lipsticks unfortunately will go bad before I can get to actually use them up. A lot of them are very old already, and that's in part why I am on the no buy, because I want to enjoy the collection that I do have and I want to make some really good progress on the products that I do have as well, to just enjoy things and to not want things anymore. And these numbers, these estimated number of years worth of products in my collection is very, very eye-opening and really makes me want to just love on what I have right now and not amass more, not bring in more to inflate those numbers even further. I just want to use what I have. I want to love on what I have, and if I have many, many years worth of products already at my disposal, then that's amazing. I don't need to spend any more money. I don't need to crave anything else. I have so much makeup already on hand, and that is something that is a big takeaway from this kind of practice for me. That is everything for today's video. It was just all in good fun. I hope that you found it interesting to hear, in comparison to my makeup inventory, how many years worth of makeup I really may have at my disposal right now. And if you're interested in doing this yourself, I would love to hear. I would love to hear how many years worth of eyeshadows and lipsticks and blushes do you have? I would love to know. But that is everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.